right, I am sitting outside of Walmart picking up my groceries. I decided to hit the easy button today and not go to the grocery store because I am very tired. And I just want to go home and sit on the couch. I'm just going to be honest, y'all. My husband and I spent the past weekend in Eastern North Carolina facilitating a youth leadership program for Rotary District 7720. And we love doing that. However, it is very early mornings and very late nights, which leads to not having a weekend to plan for the next week. It was a 3-hour drive back. So in that 3 hours, I decided to plan a nice meal plan that will get us through 10 days, hopefully 11 with some leftovers. Because I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, we have just an enormous busy week coming up. And what makes that so busy is not only do we have our regular banking duties, but we have this thing in High Point, which is the city I lived in, that's in for the next, close to a week and a half. It's called the International Home Furnishings Market. It comes twice a year, one in the spring, one in the fall. And it is a great time in our city. We show so well. We invite over 85,000 people into the city of High Point, and pretty much anything in your house was either designed, manufactured, or sold in the city. And it's a busy time. So not only do we have our regular banking duties that we have to get done on a daily basis, but we also want to go to market to visit our clients and to support them as they go through this week, and hope to find prospective clients as well. That also includes our children's activities, because they don't stop during this week either. So it's going to be a really hectic week, and I wanted to make sure we were prepared, one, to come home to a cooked meal, a healthy meal, and a yummy meal. That's important. And that it will get us through 10 days. So I don't have to worry about planning or running to the grocery store, which will be so beneficial. So friends, I'm going to do this. Also, the goal would be under $50. So 10 nights of meals, hopefully 11, so I can have a day of relaxation and not worrying I have to go to the grocery store, for all under $50. Okay friends, this is my grocery haul. This is all the items that I have purchased that I hope to at least a minimum of 8 meals. My goal is to get potentially 10 meals out of this, so we will see. Let's start first. I got a packet of the ranch seasoning. I'm going to use this for 2 different things for this meal plan. These I have just discovered. Oh my goodness, if y'all haven't tried these, you really have to do nothing to them. They're already seasoned. You heat them up and they are so good. This is a huge can. It is 28 ounces, so that's definitely it's $1.98. Might be a little pricey. However, they're already seasoned and they're good to go, and they do not have any fat or cholesterol, which is a plus for my family. Brown rice. I had to get the brown rice because that was the only thing they offered. I don't care for brown rice, but I'll eat it. What I'm making it for is going to have a lot of flavor, so it will be fine. That was the only one that I could find that was just 1 pound, was just the brown rice. I got a package of egg noodles, a box of corn muffin mix. Fun fact, did you know they did like the top 20 cornbread mixes and Jiffy was number 2? It's the least expensive, but the most favored by Americans, so isn't that interesting? See, Americans' favorite. That is a true advertisement for sure. Then we have I did reduce sodium because a couple of the recipes I'm concerned about the saltiness of it. So I did the reduced sodium chicken broth for 2 different recipes. I'm going to use that broth for a can of pinto beans, a can of tomato sauce, and look at all the beautiful vegetables. Got 1 zucchini, cucumber, pepper, green onion, of course some celery, carrots, 2 onions, and this one's huge, huge. 2 onions, 3 russet potatoes, some carrots, some green leaf lettuce, and broccoli slaw. I'm going to use that in 2 different meal plans as well. Then I have milk, as well as a nice pineapple. As you guys know, my kids like to have a fruit with their meals, and that was a really good price. It's $1. I want to say it was $1.49 at Walmart. That will give them plenty of fruit for at least a good 8 days for sure. Reduced fat cheese, and 1 small container of the plain Greek yogurt, 6 eggs, and a large bag, 4-pound of chicken drumsticks. And then I got my favorite ingredient. I use this a lot. And this is the ground 90% lean fresh ground turkey. And then actually I thought I was getting turkey sausage, but maybe I chose the wrong one. But either way, I can make it work. And then we have the hard wood smoked turkey sausage from Butterball, and Smithfield. This is a ham steak, and I'm going to use this for a couple recipes as well. It's supposed to be 97% fat-free, which the whole premise of this particular meal plan is to have healthy food items that are heart healthy for the most part, at a really good, affordable price. So let's see if I can get at least 8 meals from all these ingredients for the next 8 days. I'm thinking I can get 10. We shall see. A 10 for my family of 4, and this is less than $50 worth of groceries, friends. You know, my grocery haul, I purchased the ham. This is anytime favorite boneless ham steak, and it's 97% fat free. But so this is the goal that I want for this ham steak. I'm going to use it in 2 different recipes. I am going to use it in the soup that I'm making right now. It is in the morning, and I'm heading out to work. And so I have decided, you know what? Soup is on today's menu. And so I'm going to dice up half of this ham and put it in a soup. I think most people say it's like ham bean soup, or I don't know, what do you call it? It's a bean ham soup. I think most people would take, would actually, I'm trying to not cut my finger, would actually use white beans for this. I'm not using white beans because, friends, I am not a fan of white beans, or really many beans, except for lima beans and pinto beans. So I'm using pinto beans. I'm not sure why I like pinto beans and not other beans. I just feel like pinto beans, when they cook up, they get they have more silkier, more of a silkier taste to it. So that's why I typically choose pinto beans I choose pinto beans over other beans. So this looks like, a cup, maybe and a half of ham. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do potatoes. I bought 3 big russet potatoes, and interesting enough, I'm using the ham and the potatoes in 2 separate recipes in the same recipe. So anyway, I'm going to dice up 1 of the large russet potatoes, and I have, I don't know, that looks about a cup and a half of diced ham. Obviously, you could put as much ham as you want in your dish. I'm splitting them up, so I need to use the other half for my other recipe, which is like a potato ham casserole. It's like potato garden with ham in it. I mentioned this in one of my earlier videos that I did to use up some leftover ham from the holidays. It was a good way to use up ham. And this is a good way of using up ham if you had some left. So as you can see, let me put this over here. As you can see, I have potatoes, I have ham, and I diced up, I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but this is great. It's a chopper. It makes the process go a lot faster. Most importantly, it keeps the onions from burning your eyes. But as you can see, I had a big yellow onion, and I actually cut that in half and just used half of that big onion. And I did about 4 carrots diced, and then about 4 celery in here. So this is what all this contains. All right, I did a liner. I'm gonna take it easy. If you haven't used one of these are great, easy clean up by far. I'm gonna put all of this in here. Dump and go. And then, of course, pinto beans. Now, I'm only going to do a can because I told you guys I really, I like beans, but we're just not going to go bean crazy. I'm going to dump all of it in here because it has salt, and I'm not going to add any salt because I just feel like it doesn't need it. Between the seasoning salt that I'm going to put it in here, and then as well as the bean, I call it bean juice. I'm going to do some pepper. Because we do love pepper. Actually, guys, instead of seasoning salt, I'm going to use this Slap Your Mama. It is really good. And I have learned that my children, it has some heat to it, but it's not like overbearing. So I'm going to use that instead of seasoning salt. Garlic powder. Now I do have fresh garlic in the fridge, but I don't know if you've seen my video with crock pot secrets. This tip is not in the video. I should have put it in it. But it states in my research that I did that actually dried spices do better in the crock pot versus fresh spices, because the way it cooks in the long term, the more flavors it with a more bold flavor than fresh spices. So that is the reason why I'm using the dried garlic powder versus real garlic. Fresh garlic. That's about a teaspoon. It smells good, I can tell you that, friends. You know what? I think I'm going to add just a little bit of Italian seasoning. You know the Italian seasoning packets that you make salad dressing out of? I make my own recipe. I found it online. If I can find I have my recipe hung up. So what I'll do is that in the description below, I'll put the recipe that I use to make it. But everyone loves this. This actually tastes better than the packet, obviously, because it's more homemade. I'm going to do a half a teaspoon in that. But I've put this on straight on like chicken, and the seasonings, the mixture of seasonings, people really, really love. So I have all the spices in my spice cabinet to make the Italian seasoning dressing mix. So I use my own when I can. Obviously, I still buy the packets for convenience for a lot of things, but I'll leave the recipe that I use below so you can make your own Italian seasoning dressing mix. All right, I'm going to put, you can use beef. Most people, I think, use beef when they use bean and ham soup. But I'm actually going to use chicken broth because I like the flavor of chicken broth much better. And I'm using low sodium because you have to remember the ham is salty. The beans I just poured in there. I didn't rinse them, so they're going to be salty. And then I've added with some spices some salt. So we don't need to add any more salt, I feel. All right, I'm only going to do, I need a cup and a half of this for later for another recipe. So I'm going to just use probably 3/4. A bit more. More water to sort of fill it up more, at least 3/4 of the way. because if you watch my crock pot video of tips, it always says it cooks better if it's 3/4 high and not higher, or at least a halfway high. So I'm going to do it 3/4. We have the room. Heading out of the door. Yes. And I'm going to put this on for 8 hours, low and slow. And hopefully when I get home tonight, 1, it will smell delicious when I walk through the door, but 2, it will be ready to go to eat, and I don't have to worry about anything other than I'm going to pair it with some Jiffy Mix corn muffins, which I think would be delicious with it, and we'll be set for dinner. Y'all, the flavors of the soup was absolutely wonderful. It was so warm and comforting. It's a spring day, which we still have cool weather here in North Carolina, at least for today. Tomorrow could change. But I did pair it with that corn Jiffy muffin and a side of pineapple. It hit the spot after a long day. Friends, I call the smoked sausage ragu. Now, it might not be a true ragu sauce, but when I think of ragu, I think of chunky vegetables with carrots in it. Now, this doesn't have carrots, but it does have chunky vegetables. So let me tell you how I made it. First, I started off with about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. You can use whatever oil you like. I like to use olive, and I chopped up 1 whole onion. I wanted to start with the onion first because I wanted the onion to be a little bit more sauteed and starting to caramelize before I added the additional vegetables, because the other vegetables I feel will cook faster than the onion. Now, I let the onion saute for about 5 minutes while I went and chopped up the other vegetables. I chose 1 zucchini and 1 yellow sweet pepper. As you can see, I cut the zucchini in half and diced it, and then diced up, not small, but probably 1 inch size peppers. I didn't want it to be a little chunky, like I mentioned. And of course, I'm adding garlic. I had this squeezy garlic in the fridge that needed to be used up. You can use garlic powder or even crushed garlic from a garlic clove, just whatever you have on hand, and use as much or as little garlic as you want. I used about 2 garlic cloves in this dish right here. I did salt and pepper to taste, and I also put in about a tablespoon of Italian seasoning. I wanted to make sure that this gets all mixed in well, covering all the onions and the zucchini and the pepper. And I'm going to let it saute and simmer in the pan for, I did about 7 minutes. I wanted it to get tender, but I didn't want them to get mushy. If you cook, obviously, if you cook zucchini too long, it gets really mushy. And I didn't want that. I wanted a little bit of texture in the dish. Right there, I'm dousing in a couple shakes of the red pepper. I just wanted a tad of heat, not much, just a little bit. That's up to you guys if you want to add heat or not to the dish. I did use both smoked sausage links that came in the Butterball package. I sliced each link in half and then diced the half. Now, I don't know if you guys can tell, but this is a lot. This is a lot of food in this pan. The pan's pretty full. Now, I'm going to let them saute for probably another 5 minutes just to get it heated through. And I wanted to get a little brownness on the sausage, a little color, because I think it will make the dish taste better. And then I added 1 can of tomato sauce. Now, if you can find the tomato sauce that contains the Italian seasoning too, even better, but this time Walmart did not have it. Then I'm going to add another cup of water. Mix it really well together. And the important part here, this is the important piece. It takes a bit of patience, but you don't have to babysit it too much. I made sure that this dish got up to a really hard simmer. Once it got up to a hard simmer, then I reduced the heat to low and I let it simmer for about 25 minutes. During that 25-minute period, I did get a pot of boiling water started, and I put about 3/4 of a package of egg noodles. Pretty much egg noodles. I bought the Walmart brand, or the house brand. They pretty much come in the same size packages. I use 3/4. This is really up to you and your family. You could use the whole bag. The bottom line is I put it at the bottom of a plate and then I cover it with sauce. So my family really likes the egg noodles, and so that's why I use 3/4 of the package. I left a little bit because my daughters love it with butter so much, and I thought I'd put that in their lunch one evening. That's why I didn't cook up the whole I didn't cook up the whole bag because of that reason. I know my daughter Ava would want a little bit for her lunch one day with butter. They love buttered egg noodles. Now that is my husband's plate that I'm plating up. He has a lot more noodles than everybody else, and then I did a pretty heavy helping of the sauce. This dish, guys, allowed me to have 2 dinners. It's a hearty dish. It's filling. It's really, you don't need any size. You've got your carbs, your vegetables, as well as your protein all in one dish, which is fantastic. I did make some garlic toast with that Italian bread that I bought from Walmart, which was only $1, and it was a delicious meal. This is called broccoli slaw stir fry. Simple and really easy to put together. I'm starting with a tablespoon of sesame oil and then a tablespoon of olive oil. If you don't have sesame oil, don't go run out and buy it. I typically only use 2 tablespoons of olive oil, but since I already had this sesame oil in my spice cabinet from a video I did earlier, 6 meals for $60, one of the ingredients was sesame oil. And I figure since I had it in my pantry or my spice cabinet, I might as well use it. But you don't need it. Some people don't like the taste of it, and some people do. Today I'm using it. I'm trying it for the first time. I'll see if I like it. I'm also putting in about 2 tablespoons, or actually 2 garlic cloves. If you have fresh garlic, great. If you don't, garlic powder works just as well. You want to do a little pepper. I'm holding off on the salt, and the reason for that is because I'm going to add soy sauce. I don't want it to be too salty. Now this is about 1 pound of ground lean turkey. Typically I like to use ground beef, but I'm trying to cut back a tad on my cholesterol and fat in my diet, and lean turkey is supposed to be better. Now I just showed you a bag of the broccoli slaw. That is what I'm talking about. It is a bag that's shredded broccoli, cabbage, and carrots. So easy breezy. This is why I love it. And then I also chopped up some 3 stalks of finely chopped celery and 4 green onions, and that includes the white and green parts. Now I saute that for about 3 or 4 minutes before I soften it up a little bit before I add the broccoli slaw. Now the broccoli slaw, I'm going to add 3/4 of the bag, not all of it. See, look at that. That's a ton of veggies, y'all. It is a ton. And you think it will it will cook down a tad, but not much. It's still going to be a lot of veggies in that pot. And I'm thinking to myself, my mother walked in and said, "Why aren't you using the wok I gave you?" And I thought, well, crud, I forgot that I had it. The wok would have been better because it would have been bigger. So I'm concerned that this is not going to be big enough, but it makes it. But it's quite hilarious to watch it. I'm adding a little bit more garlic because I've added a lot more vegetables, and I'm adding 2 squirts of the good squeezes of ginger. I had that in my fridge. If you don't have fresh ginger, the ground ginger is dried ginger is perfect. I typically always use the dried ground ginger. But I had that in my fridge, so I thought I'd use it, because if you don't use it, you lose it. So I decided to use that. But if you have dried ground ginger, that works just as well. Now, you saw I did a good number of douses of soy sauce. You guys choose what the best flavoring is for you. I don't like to over flavor it with soy sauce, but just enough where you can taste it, but it's not overwhelming. I had 2 little heads of bok choy at the bottom of my crisper that I found that needed to be used. So I thought, well, I'm going to chop it up and throw it in. You don't need bok choy, but if you catch it on sale like I did, and you forgot that you left it in the crisper and you need it to use, chop it up, put it in stir fry. It's just more greens, but you don't need bok choy for this recipe. The main ingredient here is the broccoli slaw. Now I'm tasting it. It's been sauteing for cooking for probably about 8 minutes. I don't want it mushy. I want it still a little crunchy is the texture that you want for your veggies. I added about 1.5 cups. I cooked about 1.5 cups of brown rice because that's what was left in the bag. And that has been cooking in the rice cooker. I added the cooked rice to this dish and I doused it with some more soy sauce. And then, guys, I really like red pepper, so I'm throwing that in there as well. Now it looks like I'm putting a ton in there. The pepper is packed, so it's a little hard to shake out, so I'm not overdoing it. And I'm also adding a little bit more garlic powder just for some additional flavor. Once you add the rice and the additional soy sauce, you want to let it simmer together for about 5 minutes. And you want to taste it like I did to make sure all the flavors are on point, and then serve it up. It's one bowl, easy breezy. This gave us 2 dinners during the week. I'm going to call this potato ham casserole because that's sort of what it is. Right there, I am using about 2 cups of 2% milk, really the rest of it. And then I'm going to do a teaspoon of thyme. You could use whatever. I want to use a spice to infuse the milk or the cream. I think it makes a better flavoring overall of the dish because potatoes, you know, they can take a lot of seasoning. So this step I really think is important to do that. You could use Italian seasoning, you could use fresh herbs, whatever you choose. Just make sure you flavor your cream. I set it over on the stove and make sure that I heat it up and get it simmering while I'm preparing the other ingredients. Beginning of the week, I started with the ham bean potato soup. I use half of a ham steak. I'm using the other half of the ham steak for this particular dish with the potatoes. I slice the ham steak really thin into thin slices, and then I slice them again to make small bites of ham. Make sure it evenly spreads over the potatoes. I had a whole bunch of green onions. I used half the bunch in the stir fry, and I'm using the remainder of the green onions in this dish. I'm using the white pieces as well as the green pieces. Also, I'm going to use about 4 ounces of shredded cheese. I found reduced fat cheddar cheese at Walmart. And guys, I tasted it. I thought it would be a little bland, but no, it was good. It had a really good flavor. So if you see it, you should get it. Every little bit helps when you're trying to cut your fat and cholesterol. I'm using 2% milk instead of heavy cream. You can use heavy cream. I've used half and half. I've used 2%. I've used whole milk. I think whatever milk you have in the fridge, you can use it for this dish, and it doesn't matter. The other half of that cheese, as you can see, I'm going to put away. I'm going to use it for cheese toast to pair with the soup for the rest of the week. Now it's time to get the potatoes. Obviously, if you have a mandolin, this process goes really fast. You can get a mandolin pretty inexpensively at the store, and I know what you're saying. Why are you doing it that way? Where's your guard? I can't find the guard. This is like going on for 2 months. I can't find the guard. However, I promise you, I'm being very careful. I did not take the skin off the potatoes. I feel like the skin provides, and it does, it has a lot of the minerals and nutrients in the skin. When you cut them really thin, you can't really taste the skin at all. Spray your casserole dish really well. I'm using garlic salt because I think garlic and salt perfectly paired with some pepper. And that is a 9x13 casserole dish. And as you can see, I'm layering the potatoes into the pan. I'm doing pretty, what I call like layering them close together because I don't want to do 3 layers. Typically, I will do a layer with all the goodies, another layer with all the goodies, and then another layer and just top it with cheese. I'm a little lazy today, so I'm just doing 2 layers. You want to garlic salt it really well, pepper it really well, put half of the cream on top of it, and then do half of the ham, half of the onions, and half of the cheddar cheese. And of course, you could use whatever cheese you want. You could eliminate the onion if you would want as well. I'm trying to show you the size of that potato. See, it's about as big as my hand. 2 of that size will give you this size casserole. So I wanted to give you sort of a reference to know. I got 3 russet potatoes of that size. I used 1 russet potato for the
soup, and then the last 2 in this dish. This is the last and final layer of your casserole. You just repeat and finish using all the contents that you prepared. So let's talk about how long you cook this. Before you start this process of cutting up the contents and ingredients and putting it together, you want to preheat your oven to 400 degrees. And you want to make sure that you cover it with some aluminum foil, and you want to cook it for 60 minutes with it covered. After 60 minutes, take the aluminum foil off and then cook it for another 10 minutes. So that way you get the cheese just a little bit more cooked and browned a bit more. It's really up to your liking. You always pierce the potatoes to make sure it starts to cook. You want to make sure it's cooked. You'll know what it means when you stick your fork in there. If it goes straight through, your potatoes are done. Now friends, this will give me 2 nights worth of dinners, and I'm going to pair it with salad because I just think that's a good dynamic side dish to this savory dish. Look how pretty it is. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it tastes even better when we pulled it out of the oven. What a yummy, comforting meal.
All right, friends, it is the morning. It's actually, I just got up. It's like, what time is it? It is 5:30 in the morning. I get up early because I like to have my alone time and quiet time and drink my coffee. So I'm going to be starting our meal for tonight, and it is going to consist of green beans and this French onion rice. Now, I've seen a lot of like recipes on the internet, and I think a lot of them require the oven, and I don't have time for the oven. So I figure I'll make my own kind of version and see if it works. And I'm going to use the rice cooker, which I love. If you don't have one of these, it's fantastic. You just dump it in, mix it, hit start, and it's perfectly cooked. I mean, I think this was like 13 years ago. I think I paid $15 for it 13 years ago. All right. So I typically like white rice, but they didn't have a pound of white rice at Walmart, so I bought brown rice. Will just be healthier because they say brown rice is better for you. So I'm doing a cup of brown rice. And one of the recipes that I read said to add like, I think a stick of butter. And then guys, I just can't do a stick of butter. So I'm going to use olive oil, and I'm going to do like 3 tablespoons of olive oil and call it a day. This is the healthier version of the French onion rice soup. Heather's version. All right, so I'm going to do a can of the French onion condensed soup. And this is going to be 10 ounces, which is sort of important because usually a cup of rice is going to be 2 cups of water. And if you're going to use brown rice, you sort of have to do a little bit more. No, it still says 1 cup of rice with 2 cups of water. So it's same, white or brown. So we've already put in 10 ounces. So I'm going to just go ahead and just put another can in there. It's a little bit more than 16 ounces, but that's okay because I feel like brown rice needs more water to soften it up, in my opinion. We'll see if this works. All right, I'm going to stir it around. And I'm going to put some pepper in it. And I feel like that soup has enough flavor in it and salt that I don't need to add anything else in it. So we're just going to do it like this. Got the onions, the rice, pepper, and I'm going to set the lid on it, hit cook. It will probably take 20 minutes to cook, and then I'll let it cool down and I'll put it in the fridge, because it's one of those transitional nights where I'm going to have sort of dinner prepared. So this side, it's going to be a side to our meal tonight. Y'all have just come downstairs, and if you could smell this wonderful smell, I was upstairs getting ready for work, and I'm like, what is that smell? And it is the French onion rice rice dish that I put on before I went up there to get ready for work. Let's see how it turned out, because I just have to taste test it. Okay, so when it's done cooking, it pops and it hits warm, so that way you don't have to babysit it. Let's see here. I can tell you it soaked up every bit of that water, and I added more water than the instructions call for. So let's give it a little taste test. No, it's really good. Look at that. Onion, if you like onions. And if you watch my videos, I use a lot of onion. But if you like onions, French onion soup, that is the bomb. I'm telling you. All right, friends, so I am doing chicken drums in my favorite. Again, if you haven't seen my crock pot video, this is one of my favorites, especially cooking chicken drums, because I will cook them low and slow all day long, which makes them so tender and wonderful to eat. And then right before I serve them, I will turn my oven on to broil and put this whole container right into the oven and get it crispy on the top, because if you just cook the chicken drums in the crock pot, the skin is less desirable to eat. It's a little rubbery. But if you take the time and you have 7 minutes, throw it underneath the boiler, and it will crisp that skin up perfectly. So then spray it. Now, these are the largest chicken drums I've ever seen. These are big. This is the Walmart frozen drums that you find in the freezer department, or the freezer side of the store. And it looks like they're, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these, which is an odd number, actually. But they do it by pound, not necessarily by numbers. So let's see, because obviously I have a family of 4. And my thought process was that we would have chicken drums twice for 2 dinners. But if we're lacking a drum, that might be a problem. Let's see. Now my kids will eat one, I will eat one, my husband might eat 2. So this might be for the night that we have leftovers. Because if we eat this tonight, then my husband eats 2 and my girls and myself just eat 1, then we have 2 left over. So this might be one of those leftover night dinners. Y'all have to see this. This is like the biggest chicken drum I've ever seen. Y'all have to see it. Look at that. Like, that is huge. That's like 2 chicken drums. Good grief. And it still has some feathers on it, y'all. I better get those off because my kids will be disgusted. Okay. So we'll see how this goes. I'm pretty sure we're going to get definitely one dinner out of it. We might have 3 left over, or we might have 2 left over, which means, you know, you always plan for one night to eat just leftovers. 1, because it's easy, and 2, you just need to eat up the food. So this might be the situation. I really thought I was going to get 2 dinners because I thought I'd at least get 8 drums. Didn't work out that way this time. Now, I'm going to season them with this ranch packet. I'm going to season them, all of them, with half the packet, and the other half I'm going to make ranch dressing out of it. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Y'all hear my cuckoo clock? It's telling me I need to get out the door. Right. Add some pepper. Okay, so what we're going to do, friends, is the following. I'm going to add just a little bit of water, just a little bit, just to make sure it's not going to burn, since I'm going to be out of the house for 9 to 10 hours. Just a little bit, because this will create a lot of juice as well. So I just do a little bit. All right, so I've put that in the crock pot. I'm gonna have it cooking for low. It will cook probably for 8 to 9 hours. Let's see, my husband will get home definitely 8 hours, 8.5 hours. And what the drill will be tonight is he can pull out the crock pot and stick it in the oven for the 7 minutes to get it to broil. So when I'm getting into the door, I can heat up the rice, and we're gonna have green beans. I don't know if you guys seen these before. This is, I've discovered at the grocery store, I don't know, probably like 4 weeks ago. And I thought, I've never tried it. I'm telling you, it's like almost $2. So if you find it on sale, even better, but it's a big can. It is 28 ounces of green beans. They're already seasoned. All you have to do is just heat them up. It is so quick. And I served this during Easter, like a couple days before Easter, when my parents were in town, and they were pretty impressed on how wonderful the flavor is. You do nothing to it. I guess you can add more, but you do nothing to it. You heat it up and you serve it. What I love about it, it has 0 fat and it has 0 cholesterol. 2 things we're trying to control in this house. So if you haven't tried it, do this. So we're gonna have the chicken drums, the French onion rice, and green beans tonight for dinner. Hey friends, it's been a long day and I am home late, and I came into the house and the house smelled so good. That chicken that had been slow baking in the crock pot all day. Oh, I can't tell you the smells and the aromas that came out. We threw it in the broiler to get it crisp up, and deliciousness, I'm telling you. It just looks good. So this is my first time I get to sit, eat all day, and I'm excited. Y'all, if you haven't tried those green beans, you're missing out, because they are so good. It tastes like Grandma made them. And y'all know, if y'all from the South, you know what that means when Grandma makes them. You know, I wasn't very excited about having the brown rice, because I like white rice. But with this flavor combination and the texture of the brown rice with the French onion soup, I have to say, it's delicious. I'll try it with the white rice, but I'm telling you, the brown rice really did it. What about chicken? Nice and crispy. Mmm. Y'all, it fell off the bone. That is how tender it is. Mm. That's a must try, y'all. That is so good. Okay, friends, that is a wrap for this week of meal planning. And I am very happy that I took, even though coming home from that long weekend, I was tired and I actually wanted to take a nap, but I didn't. I planned the meals for the next 10 days. And it did take us through 10 solid days. And it was nice. I didn't have to go to the grocery store. I had everything planned, everything in the fridge and ready to go. So that led to a much easier week. And we didn't go out, which was even better. I didn't have to wait in line to get into a restaurant. I didn't have to eat fast food that's not really that great, nor do I like. I had it already at home. And unfortunately, I did not do what I typically do and plan or prep things for the week on Sunday. I'll be honest, I sat my butt on the couch and vegged for the few hours that I had for my Sunday, and that's what I chose to do. However, the things that I picked for the week for the meal plan actually made it really easy to prepare. I could do it in the morning or I could do it on the fly when I got home, and it didn't take a lot of my time. So I chose wisely in my meal plan. Most importantly, it was comfort food. After a long day, you know how you go, oh, I gotta go home and I'm hungry, and then you think about the things you have in your fridge and you're like, I really don't want that. And that's where you're tempted to go buy something else. Well, the things I prepared, they were yummy to come home to. You know, I had 2 crock pot meals. One was the soup, which turned out really good. As I was preparing it, the smell was delicious. And the seasoning I used, Slap Your Mama, it had just enough hint of heat. It wasn't overbearing, but it was just perfect. And I paired it with different things throughout the week. Remember, I did the Jiffy muffins one day. That gave us one day for just the Jiffy muffins because it only makes 6. My husband said that he actually put his muffins inside the soup. And he was like, if you're a cornbread person, that was the bomb. So if you try the recipe and you do the Jiffy muffins, he suggests crumbling that muffin inside the soup and you will be shocked how good it is. The other nights that we had it, I had a big loaf of Italian already sliced bread that I got at Walmart. And I did garlic toast for who wanted garlic toast or cheese toast because I also purchased cheese for that purpose. And both of them were delicious and paired well with the soup. The soup only got better as the week went on. And we have so much soup left over. I actually put some in the freezer. That's how much it stretched. So, and it was filling, even though I only had 1 can of beans, which if you were a bean person, you're like, why didn't you do 2? I like pinto beans, but I don't want an entire soup made out of pinto beans. The mixture of veggies and protein in the beans was perfect. It was great, quick, and easy. Made it in the crock pot, reheated it when we wanted it. So it turned out perfect. The stir fry, which I guess you would say it would be more like a vegetable, a vegetable fried rice mixture because it was veggies. Typically, you would take the brown rice and put it at the bottom and put the veggies on top, but I just said it's going to be easier just to put it all in together and get it nice and seasoned. So that lasted us 2 days, which was wonderful. And then we had the smoke. We'll call it ragu. Is ragu a good name for it with like vegetables and tomato sauce? We'll do that. Maybe we'll call it smoked sausage ragu. That was delicious. That provided us 2 meals. That bulked up a lot. I used the entire turkey, both of the turkey smoke sausage in the pan with all the veggies and the egg noodles. It was wonderful. My mom actually came to visit and she had that one day for lunch and she was like, that is so good. What did you put in it? And I was like, sort of put it together on the fly. Watch the video. Hopefully I did a good job at least explaining what I put in it so you could try it. But that was really good and very hearty. I paired that with
garlic toast because I felt like it had plenty of complex carbs, protein, and veggies in it. And the garlic toast with that Italian bread that was sliced, that like was a charm throughout the week, y'all. We used it all up and it was perfect. So I would suggest that if you guys want a little extra. It was $1. And that $1 took me through a good number of meals as an addition too. So it was really delicious as well. And then the chicken drums. So I was in the assumption that my chicken drums would take me through 2 meals. And it didn't, because I was thinking it'd be at least 8 chicken drums. But then I don't know why I thought that, because my husband is going to at least eat 2, and he did. So that gave me 1 meal, which was fine, but it gave me leftovers as well. So I had plenty of food. Do y'all hear that? Let me show you. Let me just show you. I'm trying to like talk to you guys. In my pity bowl right there, his name is Bladen. He's the blonde. He's snoring. So if you hear snoring, that's who it is. And then there's my Surrey girl in the back of him. They like that little bed. Anyway, if you hear the snoring, that is my dog. I apologize. You have to love fur babies. They keep your life. They keep your life joy. Let me just tell you, they're great. Anyway, so let's get back to the meal plan. And then the last but not least was the potato casserole scallop concoction I put together with the other portion of the ham that I bought with the cheese and tomatoes. That turned out really delicious. That was a popular one in the house. My husband really liked it. That was for 2 nights too. And of course, we had leftovers on really the 11th day. So it had accomplished what I wanted to. Obviously, the chicken one threw me out. I was really counting on that to be 2. I planned that incorrectly. But at the end of the day, between the soup, the stir fry, the turkey smokes ragu and noodles, the potato ham casserole, and the chicken drums, that got me through 11 days. And we were satisfied and we enjoyed them, and we have leftovers. In fact, we have enough leftovers to freeze the soup. So in a couple months later, I'll pull that out, and that will be a delicious lunch for someone. Really 2 lunches for someone or some people. Either way, it was a good meal plan. I hope some of these things or some of these recipes inspire you to try. They're different. A little like off the top of my head, didn't really follow a recipe on any of them. So hopefully I did a great job in describing what I put in them so you guys could potentially make them for your family as well. Thank you so much, friends, for joining me today. And if you like to give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe so you won't miss another one of my fantastic videos with my dog snoring in the back. You guys stay safe, and most importantly, stay encouraged.